I'm live. Here I am. Hi, Jillian. Hi, Jan. Just gonna wait for a few people to join. Don't forget to give me a shout out where you're from. And so excited today. We have a special guest. Hey, oh, hi, Claire. Hi, Marissa. We get to talk to Kate today. And I'm invited in my friend Kate Taylor, and we're going to get her in about 5 minutes or so because we're going to let everybody kind of log on and get in. And then we're also painting a bear today. So I have set up outside. It's nice out. I just love outside to begin with. So I decided instead of pulling it all in from the garage and putting it into the living room, we just thought we'd do it outside. And Abigail, hi Liz. Liz is there. Hi Joanne Thompson from Vancouver. And Dee from Calgary. That is so exciting. Thank you guys for joining. Um, I hope I can figure out how to add somebody because Abigail, my cohort, is arriving late today. She might get here around 20 after 1. We'll know when she gets here. We always know when she arrives in a room. You guys will know. Port Lambton. I don't know where Port Lambton is. And that girl paints. Ooh, I like that handle. So we're gonna invite Kate in. And when Kate gets here, I'm really excited to talk to her. She's a wonderful abstract artist. I hope you guys have logged on and checked out her Instagram page and followed along with Kate. Kate is also an extraordinary business artist. And I thought we would have a chat about a little bit about the art of business. I know we have, there she is, Kate's here. I know we have a bunch of people on this Instagram that follow me, from kids to adults to not some professional painters and some wannabes. So we're going to talk a little bit about the journey and all that stuff. So I'm going to invite Kate in. Oh, be easy on yourself. Says she loves your work, Kate. So I'm going to try to read these comments because you guys know that Abby does it for me. So I hope she's on her way. She got off work at 1, so she's on her way. So I'm looking for Kate. Okay, so we're waiting for Kate. You guys are going to love her. There
Hi.
she is. Can I hear you, Kate?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. And guys, look at the color that is behind Kate and the color she's wearing. Can you figure out why we get along so well?
Although I just realized it's super wrinkly. Hopefully no one can see.
No one can see. I got a zit this morning that I had to cover up. I was like, okay, on Friday.
I know it's funny because it's like, oh, I've got real live appointments, so I better actually do something with my hair because it's getting so gray.
I know. What did you do? You didn't do anything.
Well, I'm just no, but I find if I actually wash it, that helps. But if I curl it, it helps bump it up a bit because my hair's so straight normally. So
Yeah. Kate, can you see the comments too? Hey,
I
Daniel. Daniel Cinema
yeah.
is on. Hi, Daniel.
Oh,
Can you see the comments?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I'll put my glasses on.
So I don't usually do it this way, like facing me. So it's me and Kate reading the comments. So if you have any questions, please ask. But Kate, can you please tell us
Yes,
about yourself? And can you please show us a piece of your work?
sure. So yeah, thanks for the incredible lead in. It's, I was a little bit embarrassed now. I feel I can't live up to that, but so yeah, I'm a full-time abstract painter. Have had previous life did a lot of marketing and stuff, but I'm really committed to kind of bridging that kind of like the creative part of art and the actual business part of art. And I kind of get a charge out of doing both, which is great because it feeds kind of both sides of my brain, I guess. So I'll show you a little bit about my art. I'm not sure if I can turn it around. Oop. So this is, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an example of the work that I do. It's typically, oh, here's my home studio, which I'm working at right now. I normally work out of Art Alchemy. I have a shared studio with a number of other artists, which is fabulous.
Hi, Greg. Catherine.
But yeah, I basically work in, my work's about joy, and it's about really capturing the joy that you feel when you're present in nature. And I'm finding certainly right now there seems to be a real appetite for things that are just happy and joyful. And,
yeah,
you know, of course, we all know that being exposed to nature creates dopamines in the brain, which makes you feel more tranquil. And so it seems to kind of fit a lot of those things right now. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I've always loved your work. I think the aspect of that, it looks like it's undersea. You're very much tranquil. Hi, Emily. My daughter-in-law's on now. So we're, hi, Goga. Oh, River's on. Hi, River. Excuse me while I indulge my grandbabies. Hi, River. I hope Amos
can do that.
And Autumn and Wilhelmine. So I've always loved your work, but it was really you and your personality that, you know, we just started meeting. I find I have a really kind of neat group of artist friends that first it's their work that stops me. Like if I'm going through a show and I stop in front of the work and I'm just like, whoa, that is just amazing. And then I start getting to know people, and the group of artists that I have as friends now, I'm, you know, it's just incredible, and it is a support system, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I agree, because I saw your work way before I actually met you, because you don't tend to be on the same art fair trail that I'm on.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think some of it, of course, is your love of really strong, bold color, which is what attracts me as well.
Yeah.
And I think even when I'm looking at other people's work and other people have a very different color palette, I can really appreciate it. But it just doesn't kind of talk to me in such a visceral way.
Yeah.
As color does.
And I often find there's like people's work, I don't think I can do abstract. So when somebody does it so well, I'm just like amazed at their thought processes. So you did a good little lead in there. I wanted to talk about like an artist's journey a little bit today. I find I have people, you know, if they're just meeting me, they come in, oh, you're living the dream. This is great, isn't it nice? So lucky. So lucky. And I am lucky. I am blessed that people like my work. If people hated it, that would be a really big problem. But you start your journey off figuring out, first of all, that you like art, right? Like in grade school, in high school, you might be the student that gets A's in art and you do really well. And then you go off to college. And you get to college, and there's 300 kids in your class that are also the very best from their high school.
I was a small group. I had a small class.
So the competition ramps up, if you want to call it competition, and then you have to figure out after college your journey from there. And for me, you know, I immediately started having kids. And I literally just did work when I got paid to do it, because that's all I had time for. I didn't have time to do a huge practice. That came a little bit later when the kids were older. But I started, you know, just slogging my stuff from my dining room table with a tent in the car, in the rain and the heat, to all the little art shows in church basements. What about you? What was your journey like?
Well, I sort of probably had a bit of a help up, in the sense that my grandmother was a professional artist, and my sister, Helen Utzel, who's in Vancouver Island, is also a professional artist. So I was surrounded by art.
She's on.
I was surrounded by art, you know, my entire life. Like, it never occurred to me you wouldn't live in a house that didn't have original art that was created by, you know, people you knew.
Yeah.
So that started. And yes, I was, good at art for sure. And I also did, theater, and I did, math and English and all the other things as well. I do a Bachelor of Fine Arts. I went to Western. At that year, there were 6 of us that graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts at Western. And it was kind of cool because it was a very tight knit group, and we would just jump into, Fern's van, and we'd go to Detroit and check out the Albright Knox. It was almost like a little bit hippie-ish, right?
Yeah.
But really fun. My major was actually in photography. And I discovered later that I love photography. I really like the darkroom work, and where it was there was a bit of serendipity. It was a bit unpredictable. And once photography became digital, I just wasn't that interested in it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it took me a while to kind of realize, even working on the wood, because working on the wood panel too, once you put the color down, I can't pull it back. So I have to really commit, and I have to be strong in my kind of decisions. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it fucks up, it screws up. And that's just the way it is, But after school, I actually worked in marketing. So I worked for, technology and financial services companies, and had my own marketing firm for a number of years, which was great because it allowed me to actually be creative in doing executive level events and creative things that way, which was really fun. But for the last sort of 7 or 8 years, I've really been a full-time artist, and I've been running full-time with the artist and the marketing. And about 2 years ago, I gave up my marketing firm.
Yeah.
So
because you help run Artist Network, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm the chair. I think I've been chair for about 8 years now. And the Artist Network, it's a not-for-profit that helps artists with the business of art. And so for me, I'm very, very passionate about helping artists be successful from the business piece, because I don't think it's typically taught in schools. Well, actually, I know it's not, because I go and talk to Western, the graduating students at Western.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's meaning that a lot of artists are being set up to fail. They have the skill and the talent, but if you can't get out there and you can't showcase your work and you don't know how to talk about it, and I don't personally believe you can actually sell art. I think you have to create an environment of authenticity where people want to have a piece of your art and a piece of you in their homes, but I don't think you can hard sell it. So I think trying to help more artists do that is, I'm really
there's definitely tricks to closing a sale and
absolutely
all of that, but you're right, you have to create a journey. And Abigail says she's on her way home, so she should be here shortly, and you don't have to look at me so close up because I'm literally like holding my phone. But so like I found it takes experience, but you can actually glean from other artists. Like I remember the first time I did a big show, what I considered a really big show. It was an indoor show in Toronto, and I had everything I possibly ever did at that show, and people thought it was 4 or 5 different artists. Yeah. So I made a few mistakes, and they thought, like, who is this? So like, talk to us about maybe presenting a body of work. If you're wanting to do a show, what mistakes can somebody avoid for the first time they rent a tent and they go in and set up?
Yeah, I can talk a lot about that because the Artist Network produces the Riverdale Art Walk, as a lot of people are familiar with, an outdoor show that is supposed to happen the first weekend in June. And a lot of times that's people's very first show. And we do a lot of mentoring around it. And Angela Lane, who is an encaustic artist, is the director on that. But I think one of the things is that you need to have a little bit of self-discipline in terms of creating a body of work that looks cohesive. And I think that artists often underestimate how long it takes people to make a decision to go from first time seeing something to actually purchasing. And often what happens is by the time they're at the purchasing stage, the artist has now changed the work so dramatically that they've built all of this goodwill and communication with with their collectors, and then they do something dramatically different. And artists are much faster to move on to that next collection than collectors are.
Right.
So I think that it's helpful to do that. I think it's also helpful to have somebody externally, not your family, who are going to tell you that they love all your work, to tell you whether or not they think the work is cohesive. So for me, I'm super lucky because I have my sister, who, of course, she's my sister. She can be totally blunt, and I totally love that. But also surrounding yourself like people like you, like with other artists who can kind of go, these pieces work, that piece is weak, or that piece looks like it doesn't fit. And I think especially in doing a submission, it's super important that you've got that consistency. And we see a lot of time submissions at Riverdale Art Walk where you're truly not, I don't even know what they're showing.
I know.
You know?
I remember my first application to the Artist Project, which is one of the first big shows I ever did. I totally got rejected because I had everything from a painting of a flower to a watercolor painting of a Maasai warrior because we had lived in Tanzania for 5 years, and then a tree. I thought, I'll show them everything I can do, and that is not what they wanted. They wanted.
That's so tempting for artists to do that because it's like, well, maybe there's one thing of the 7 that the jury will like and then I'll get in.
Yeah.
But the reality is that art shows and galleries are businesses and they need to have some predictability and understand what you're going to have there. The other thing I find too is that we often have photographs where it's like, okay, is that a picture of a painting that's sitting on the chair, or is it that you didn't crop out the chair and it's actually the painting you're trying to showcase?
Right.
And it's amazing how many artists still do that. Like the quality of your photos is so critical, right?
My experience with photos is when I started hiring and documenting my work professionally and putting those photos on my website, I actually had 2 or 3 galleries that I wasn't in yet call me and say, we love the new direction of your work.
Yeah.
And I was
like,
it
was the same direction, right?
Not really new. It's just photos. Yeah. Well, and that just changed everything. So one of my big tips is that people just get good photography. So Nick Boland 5, she says this is great info because you're right. It's not taught. This isn't taught in school. I remember school. I love school, but
I'm actually working with. I was actually kind of on the roll of working with the Dean of Arts at Western to try and incorporate at least some sort of an entrepreneurial business course within the mandatory BFA.
Yeah.
So I'm being a little bit obnoxious about that with them because I just think it's really important.
I'm losing my train of thought. I wanted to talk about the fact that a lot of artists don't think that they should be. Tim Horton. Tim Morton lived in Tanzania too. Hi, Tim. Habari what were we talking about earlier today? It was like I felt a little bit like a business person, and maybe I'm just a commercial artist. Maybe I'm not a true artist because I like the business side of art. But then I realized that if I don't paint for a while, I'm anxious and tight and angry, and that I have to paint. It's an expression that I have to do. All the other stuff is fun for me, to come up with. So a lot of artists, I think, they either aren't good at it and hate it so much, or really haven't given their self permission to promote. I was thinking
I think a lot of it's a second case. And I do think, and I was amazed when I went to talk to 4th year students at Western recently, like last year, how there's still this whole concept of the fact that if you try and sell your art, you're selling out and you're not being consistent to yourself. And I think that's ridiculous. Yeah. I think you can totally be consistent to your style. And you acknowledge, as an abstract painter, I know that most people are not my clients. Most people prefer representational art, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. But when I was in Florence, I bought this book. It was a Michelangelo's notebook, and it's actually his notes of a diary as he's working through the tomb of, I think, the Medici, one of the Medici tombs, right? And he talks about the business piece of it and the fact that, if you don't pay me by this amount, I'm not going to buy the marble, and this is the deal, and this is the structure. And so you kind of realize that, it's fairly recent, this concept that artists aren't good business people, because successful artists in the past have been good business people.
Exactly.
And I think we need to re-embrace that.
Well, and the fact that, maybe some artists are painting in their basement and hoping to be discovered, but they're really nervous about going out and doing some shows. I was thinking about one day when I was doing the One of a Kind, I was driving into work and I was thinking about, it was before the show started, and it was so exciting because I always love, you get in there, you're setting up with everybody, and then the day that it opens, you go in and the whole place is perfect. Everything looks great. And I was thinking, it's like 500 vendors who are there to show off, completely to show off. Like, look at my stuff. Do you want to buy my stuff? And then I was thinking, who was the first person that showed their stuff and the first person who said, I would like to buy that? from you or trade that from you.
Yeah.
You know, it's really awesome when people love your work. And I'm always amazed when I just continuously find new people that I just like look at the strokes that they have, look at the color choices that they make, and I'm amazed over and over.
Well, especially because when you get familiar with your own style, you're like, it seems easy for me to do my work, right?
Yeah.
And I really, for me, I love the process of doing it, which is to me the most important part of the art. Even more important than the final product. Like for me, it's about the process, which is why I have no problem selling my work and getting rid of it, because I don't feel after the process is done, it's like the therapy's done and now it's done.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know you, but I totally still remember the person who bought my very first piece of art at the Riverdale Art Walk like 11 years ago. Yeah. And he still comes to almost every show I do. Like, well, it's great.
I have a couple of people in my life that after slogging to a bunch of those shows, I had one lady come to a show and she bought 2 original paintings, and other people responded that weekend, and I phoned my husband. I'm like, I'm quitting my job. Yeah. And he by then he trusted me enough to know that I knew what I was doing, but I
had a similar situation because with my Kaleidoscope was my own marketing firm. Microsoft was my client, a great client. I did executive level events, super fun. But I got to the point where I was missing art opportunities and art revenue because of the fact I was doing so much traveling with Microsoft. And so when they approached me about doing the RFP, I just basically said, no, I think I'm done. I'm closing down the marketing so I can really focus more on business. And I think definitely that makes a lot of sense. But I think you have to do it within your time where you're comfortable with it. And it's always easier if you have some revenue to be able to invest in marketing and in these outdoor shows. And, you know, I do a lot of shows in the US, which are expensive to do, but
I know. I have not explored the US like you have. There was a lady who just made a comment, S.K. Garrett, I think, and she said this is a perfect timing for her right now. She battles this in her head and heart all the time. So she's, you know, going between that, am I allowed to show off, basically, you know?
Totally. You know what? Fake it till you make it. Like, I was calling myself an artist when I totally didn't feel like I was one, because it takes a while to really internalize it, right?
Yes. Jared, say hi to your mom, Grace, for me. So is there anything else you want to share?
Well, I think part of it is I really do think that people buy you as the artist as well as they buy your art. Like, I think that some of it is they buy a piece of you. And I think it's really important then to create these authentic moments, which, you know, in the past one of the reasons I love doing outdoor shows, love to talk to the people, you know. So the outdoor show is not happening now. Oh, did you lose me?
I lost you for a minute, but I don't know if everybody else lost you, but I did.
So I was just saying that, you know, I think it's important to really be authentic, and it's one of the reasons I like to do outdoor shows where I get to meet people face to face, and you hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, and for me, I absorb all that, you know, in good ways or bad. And I think that now online, things like this really help because it shows the real person. And I think that's going to be really critical moving forward.
Well, this is a pretty neat thing. Like, I started this Instagram thing for my daughter. My daughter suggested this, like, how many weeks ago? 8 or 10 weeks ago. And everybody's been really supportive. Like, Kate, I can't believe how many people write me personal notes.
Yeah.
To say that they enjoy it.
I did a few of them, and it's funny because I was doing created a painting that from beginning to end. And through a couple of different Instagrams, it took me a few of them because I'd never actually, I don't work on one painting from beginning to end. So
I know.
Oh, normally I'd let this sit for 20 minutes, but I can't because I got a bunch of people there. So
I know.
Kind of talk through. But I've had a couple people afterwards say, well, maybe you should tape it ahead of time and then you can edit it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. My personality is just to go for it. So I'd rather just go for it. And if I screw it up, well, that's just the way it is. And I figure if I taped it and edited it, I would become too critical of the final result and it would never go anywhere.
I know. At the beginning, I was going to be like, I thought, well, we'll do these live sessions and we'll record them. And then we couldn't record them because they were too long. So I think that's what it is. They go over an hour and I can't record them. Because last week we did a cow and it recorded. and it stayed on my IGTV. So everybody, you can go and watch the cow one last week. This one's going to go way over, guys. You're not going to be able to watch this again.
We're not going to hear that. Yeah, that's too bad, because I was hoping to be able to re-gram this one.
Well, I don't know how you'll do it. If people will be able to watch it for 24 hours. But so this is part of the marketing brain is like, oh, I'm sad I can't, IGTV these sessions, but I am actually working on a video series that I want to sell. So then I was like, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and have them all recorded. So maybe this is good. Maybe this is so. You need to let your brain figure out your business, because there's a business side, right? And that's what I really want to hit. The expression is wonderful, and if you guys are watching and you're playing with art, that's a super fun thing to do. But if you're looking towards art becoming a good source of income for you, there's room for you in the art world. There's room for everybody's style and interpretation, but you do have to employ some elements of marketing. You have to apply for the shows. You need to have a cohesive display. So those are some of the things I wanted everybody to take out of this conversation today. So somebody just asked, is a mentor important? You know what? I have so many mentors, and they're not really official. Like Kate is a mentor to me. I have, and I have other artists that I just study what they do. I just look at what they do. If I found a new artist in California, and I read everything that I could about her just to see, what she's doing. And you can have somebody mentor you without being an official mentor.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, especially if you're starting out, it is really important to build your community and be part of your community. And I'm not just saying this because I'm chair of the Artist Network. The reason I'm still chair is because I so passionately believe that it's such an amazing organization for people. But artistnetwork.ca, it's a member-based organization. It's run by volunteers. And so, for example, we do the Riverdale Art Walk. We can't do that. So now we're providing online stores so that artists who are not familiar with it can start their online store. Marjolaine Vanderhart is doing a series which is about social media and how to optimize your website, which are every Wednesday, free for members, $25, I think, for non-members. We're also tonight, there's actually a cool thing called 4x4, which is a digital online kind of opening with a DJ. And, so I think that
when we get off tonight or just now, can you type that into the comments, where people can go for that digital forum tonight?
Yeah, I will, because it's a cool thing. But I think the bigger thing is that once you start to become part of the community, like you'll find that pretty much every show you go to, you're going to know people there already. And we're very blessed in Toronto, especially, to have a really supportive art community.
Yeah, we have one in here in Hamilton too, and eventually you start meeting people. Yeah, you start meeting people, and you're like, oh, I got to go to Vancouver. I'm going to sleep over on that person's couch,
Totally. Yeah. Go visit my sister. She's on the island. She's got a great place.
That's it. Well, you know what? Abby's not here yet, but I think she's going to be here soon. So I think it's time for me to start this painting, or we're going to be here all afternoon.
I was going to tell you one more thing that I'm working on, which actually, Julie, I'd love to do with you as well.
Yes.
So Lisa Hickey, who is an artist who's in, we're in a couple of collectives together, but she also shares Art Alchemy Art Studio with me. We've decided we're doing this COVID collab. So we're doing a collaboration, and we're both working on this 48 by 48 inch painting, and we're passing it back and forth to create this collaborative effort between two artists. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun. And we're not really going to talk about what we're doing. And at the end of the day, if it turns out to be something cool, then we'll sell it, and the proceeds are going to go to Nellie's shelter.
So many ideas. That's a great idea. So many. Okay, well, my son went away, which might be easier for everybody to see the painting, but now I might need to get a sweater, but, oh well, I don't have one, so I'm going to freeze. But I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you
so much for having me.
It looks like from the comments that people actually really enjoyed hearing some of the ideas, and now we're going to go paint a bear really, really fast.
Excellent. Okay.
All right.
I'll be there. Okay, so I think I just canceled myself out, right?
Yep, I think so. Hi. Did you guys love it? She was great, eh? Okay, so now I got to figure out. Abby is not here yet. She should be here shortly, but I'm outside at my house, so you can't see me right now. I'm putting down my camera. Here I am. I'm back. Now, there's a million midges out here, and midges are from, you know, the pit of hell, I think. But oh, there she is. She's here. Okay, I'm gonna turn this phone around so that yeah, she can do her thing. Okay. All right, there she is. There she is. All right. So Ab, we just got off the phone with Kate Taylor.
I know, I was listening.
Oh,
In the car.
okay. Is this in the way from you? Like, you're gonna hold this while I eat, right?
Yes. This looks great.
This looks great. Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everybody has the their photo, I think, or they're just watching. And we talked a lot with Kate while we were waiting for you, so we're gonna actually go quickly.
Maybe
This
they're
fair.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about the bugs. It's super, ugh, they're just everywhere.
They are everywhere, but it's nice inside. So, are you zoomed in here?
Yes.
Okay, I need a drink. Oh,
Getting set up, ladies and gentlemen.
here's the cow from last week. I finished it, did a few more things to it, so that's so fun. So, again, we're going to go over the steps. So I always start with a red canvas. You can start with whatever color you want. I've got a fresh palette here of all new paints. These are all the colors I use, mostly golden paint. This palette is a rubberized edge called Magello, M-I-J-E-L-L-O.
We go through this every time.
Every time. So it's got rubber in there, so I can close it and it keeps it great. Okay? So those are my paints. Then I chalk in my drawing. So we're gonna get right to it because what even time is it, Ab?
1:30.
Oh, you know what? That's pretty good.
Oh, apparently our connection is not too great. And that we are glitchy and blurry and stuff.
What should we do?
Move inside because you've got bugs all in your hair now. Like, sorry, buds. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute stop.
No, we'll just go. Let's go.
Okay, we're gonna go. We're doing it. We're moving inside.
Yeah.
I think we need to restart the video because everyone's saying it's glitchy.
Okay.
We're going off and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.